So the Federal Reserve has signaled that they are planning to lower interest rates. Have you been hearing this? In today's video, we're going to talk about the top things that you may need to do if you're a buyer sitting on the sidelines waiting for those rates to go down. So stick with us. We're going to get to it right now. Hi, I'm Lisa Prather with Century 21 Simpson & Associates. We get calls and emails all the time from people like you looking to make the move into Lexington, Frankfort, Georgetown, all over Central Kentucky. We absolutely love it. So whether you're planning to move next month or 9 months from now, give us a call, send us a text or an email. We'd be happy to help you make the move into Lexington or anywhere in Central Kentucky. If you're new to the channel, be sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you'll be the first one to know about all the market changes here in Lexington, Georgetown, and all over Central Kentucky. Buying a house can be an intimidating process, but we're going to walk you through some of the things that you can do to be prepared when these rates drop so that you can get the best deal possible when you're trying to purchase a house. So let's get into the first thing we're going to look at. Before you do anything else, you need to know how much money you can spend. So your heart may say you can spend one amount, but your checkbook says something else. So before you do anything, I would recommend that you get in touch with a lender. And you may need to speak with a couple lenders before you really find someone that you can work well with. A lender that has the best rates, maybe the best terms, things that you may or may not understand. So it could take you a while to speak with someone. Really, before you ever apply for a mortgage, you need to spend some time talking with a lender so you know what you're getting into before you go. So let's discuss some of the things that you may need to have on hand or be able to find before you go in to speak with a lender. The first thing you need to know is how much money do you make? So you'll need a couple months, 3 or 4 months of your bank statements. You're going to need your W-2s, some paycheck stubs. If you are self-employed, you're going to need 2 years of taxes. So these are the things you need to get together before you actually schedule an appointment to speak with a lender. But I would recommend that you find someone that is a professional lender. If you have questions, we have lists of people that we recommend. Feel free to give us a call or send us a text. We can definitely hook you up with someone that would work with you, and we really recommend. So finding all of your financial documents and having those on hand is probably the first thing that you need to work on. So once you get all of those documents on hand, start doing some online reviews. Find a lender that you feel confident with, you want to work with, and maybe you'll interview a couple lenders, because buying a home is not really like buying anything else in your lifetime. This is one of the most significant purchases that you're going to make. So you want to make sure that you have some professionals working on your behalf. So get those documents together, then meet with a lender. And you can find out a lot of information before you ever have them to pull your credit or anything like that. They can help you determine maybe your debt to income ratio. Some of the things that you need to look at is what's on your credit report. Getting all of your financial information in line before you move forward is the very first step before you ever start to look for a property. So this is step number 1. Find out financially where you stand so that you know how much you're going to be able to spend. Now the next thing you want to think about, so if the bank says, okay, you can spend, you're able to be pre-approved for $400,000 and this is what your payment is going to be. Maybe that feels a little tight to you, so you don't want to be house poor. So I always tell people, write down everything on your budget list. See how much money you have. If you were to have that for your house payment, how much would you be able to spend every month? What would be left over? Definitely you want to be able to take those family vacations. You want to have money to buy new furniture or have a major car repair if that comes up. So these are things that you need to look at prior to ever getting in the car to go see your first house. So that is really our first step, is finding out how much money you can spend. So now let's go on to our next item on the list. Now the next thing you want to do is to choose your second professional, and that is your real estate agent. So Sometimes people say, I want to save money and I want to, be able to do this on my own. I think I can do it. I think I can write these contracts and I can do it. And maybe you can. And if you've bought a house in the past and you've been through the process, maybe you would be able to conquer that or tackle that on your own. But I'd recommend that you hire someone that you trust, someone whose opinions you value. Check out some reviews, ask your friends, maybe figure out who it is and interview a couple agents to see who maybe best works with you. And when you meet with an agent, you need to be very clear about your guidelines. So let them know what your budget is and that you don't really want to go over that budget. If that's what you're going to set your budget at, that's what you'd like to stick to. So find out if this is an agent that is, ready to work for you. There's so many things that real estate agents do for you that maybe you don't understand. So you want someone who can negotiate on your behalf. Beginning in the middle of August, the rules for buyers are going to change. The National Association of Realtors has specified that agents, before we can show any houses to anyone, buyers have to sign an agreement saying that they know that they may have to pay part of the real estate fees or all of it if they purchase a home that the seller has determined they don't want to pay any real estate fees. So you need to find an agent that's going to work for you. You need to find an agent that if you don't have the money to pay your real estate fees, let your agent know, I'd like to write these fees in. I'd like to ask the seller to give me a credit back. There's lots of ways that we can put this fee into your closing or ask the seller to help pay for it, even if they say outright that they're not willing to. So you want an agent that is able to negotiate for you. You want someone who's working for you. So find an agent that's willing to go to bat for you. If you decide you want to do it on your own, you need to understand that when you go to that seller's agent works for the seller, and they are obligated to do the best by their seller. That's just the way the fiduciary rules go. So you also want someone in your corner that's going to battle for you. So it's not just really making the offer. There's other things that you need to know about when writing an offer. So all of these things are pieces that you want to talk to your agent about before you settle on hiring an agent to work for you. So this is an important part, is figuring out what agent you can get to work for you. Now you have two professionals. You have your lender and you have your agent. You've picked those out. Now you're ready to go. So let's get started. Where are we going next? Let's look at that next spot to go. Okay, so now you've picked out your agent, you've picked out your lender, and you're ready to look at some houses. Now you've given your agent a list of your prices and the area that you want to look in. So next it's time to get to the showings. So there are some things that you as a buyer need to also do. You need to make sure that you show up on time for these showings. You need to make sure that you communicate well with your agent exactly the area that you want to look at and your must-haves and your wants. So not every house that you look at are you going to get your must-haves and your wants. So be sure to determine ahead of time what it is that you're not able to sacrifice on. Maybe you have to have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. Maybe you have to have a property that's on the east side of town or the north side of town or wherever it is that you need to live. Maybe there's a subdivision that you know you don't want to live in. Be sure to communicate all of these things with your agent so that you don't waste your agent's time and you don't waste your time when these houses maybe are sent to you for you to review before we set up a showing. So we're going to get out there, we're going to get to our first house, we're going to make sure that we have a list when we go in. Maybe when you're looking at 2 or 3 houses over a period of a week or so, you might forget some of those details. So be sure to bring a pad and paper with you so that you can write it down. Maybe take some pictures as you go along. There are some things, maybe the listing didn't show all the pictures. So be sure that you're prepared to take down all the information that you need. If a house you look at and you think, really this is a house that I'm interested in, I think I'm ready to make an offer on this house. You need to find out from your agent, okay, are we in a hot market in this area, or has this house been on the market for a week or 2? So depending on what that answer is to how much maybe you could ask the seller back for in a credit, Maybe you could offer a lower price, or do you need to have your agent go in with a strong offer because this house has just come on the market, it's priced well, and it's going to go quickly. So these are the things you need to find out and you need to know as you're looking at these properties. Okay, so now we've written our offer, we've been accepted, we're under contract. So moving on to the next thing that we have to do, and the reason that you really need a good agent working for you is in that contract, it has some dates on there that we have to adhere to. Typically, you have time for a home inspection that is between 10 and 14 days, depending on what area you live in to how many days are typical. So in this area, 10 to 14 days is typical. So we've got to meet that deadline. We've got to get in touch with a home inspector. We've got to get that scheduled. They will schedule to get into the house to make sure that they get that inspection done. So it is the job of your agent to make sure that these things are done timely. If you decide that you're going to represent yourself and you don't need an agent, make sure that you don't miss these deadlines, because if you do, you will not be given the opportunity to conduct a home inspection or to negotiate those repairs with the seller. So once the home inspection is done, your agent will get with you to figure out, are there any of these things that we can't live with? We're going to ask the seller to make a repair list. Are we going to maybe ask the seller to give us money back at closing in lieu of those repairs? So these are the things that you need to know about. So once we get through that step, then it's on to the appraisal. Once we've completed the home inspection, then your lender will order the appraisal. Sometimes they ask for you to pay that fee up front. Other times you will pay that all within your closing costs. So these are the things that you need to speak with your lender about so that they can give you all those guidelines about what to expect. So we're going to get the home appraisal done. That typically takes just a few hours. They can get right in there and get that done, and then we'll know, are we able to move forward with our closing, or did something happen with the appraisal? That's the part that your agent is going to help you figure out. Is there anything that we need to go back to the sellers about? Did the appraisal come in at a good number, or do we need to renegotiate? These are things, this is why you need someone that's going to work for you, especially if you're a first-time home buyer and you're not real familiar with contracts and how these things move forward. So now we're ready to move forward. Once we get through that appraisal, you know, all things are looking good. We're getting closer to that finish line. So we're going to move on to our next step. Now you've done really well. Let's review. We've hired a lender. We've hired an agent. We have looked at properties. We've made an offer. We've gotten through our home inspection and our appraisal. So you've done an awesome job. Now you're ready to move on, and hopefully we're within just, you know, maybe a couple weeks or so, and we'll be ready for closing. So once the closing statements have been determined, then that will be sent to your agent. Your agent will send that to you. You need to take the time and look over this document. It has lots of information on it. And your lender will give you all of this information prior to closing, you know, all throughout the home buying process. They'll let you know how much your homeowner's insurance is. Are you planning to make an escrow where you put your insurance and your taxes are added to your monthly payment? Most banks do require that, but sometimes, you know, if you have a lot of money down, or definitely over 20%, then they don't require you to have an escrow. So these are the things that your lender is going to let you know about. So now you're getting excited. We're ready to start making that move. So some of the things that you need to start thinking about doing is getting a change of address, making sure that you get your movers scheduled. You'll have to schedule to get your driver's license changed. There's lots of things that, you know, we don't really think about all these things. And if you haven't purchased a home or moved in a while, these are the things that you need to focus on getting done prior to moving day so that you will not be stressed when it comes time to move. So if you have any questions about any of these things that we've talked about today, feel free to reach out to me, send me a text or an email, or give me a call. I'd be happy to help you. If you would like a copy of my buyer's strategy that has all of this information in it, I can send this to you in an email. Be sure to just drop your email in the link below in the comments and just say, please send me the buyer's strategy. That'll give you all the information that we've talked about today, plus additional information that you might need to know before you get into the buying process. So be sure to tap the bell for notifications and like the video. Subscribe to our channel if you'd like to get more information about buying, selling a home, making the move into Central Kentucky. We'd love to help you make that move. So until next time, maybe we'll see you around town.